In February, it was revealed that over 70 veterans and military personnel committed suicide in 2018. A third of those deaths have been linked to post-traumatic stress disorder.
If you've gone into battle, you know, and the enemy's coming over the top and you've only got a few rounds of ammunition left and they're shooting all your best mates, you know, you can't take that away.
Every year we say we will remember them, but some veterans never forget.
What I would like to see is this organisation and the government up their game, start to take this condition seriously, because we've had 100 years of failure.
Over 100 years have passed since the end of the First World War, and since then, times have changed dramatically. Across the United Kingdom, you'll see statues and museums built to honour the so-called heroes of generations gone by. But what about those people who still live with the traumatic memories they experienced whilst at war? Psychological therapist Justin Havens believes that people can recover from post-traumatic stress disorder.
PTSD, as it's commonly known, is really the arrested recovery, the delayed recovery from traumatic events, which are generally, you know, extremely frightening or distressing things that might have happened to us, whether it be a car accident, being assaulted, being in a war zone, being a paramedic, or being in a natural disaster. We all have the capacity to recover from those events, but on average, about 20% of people will have a delayed recovery. And of those, a certain number, maybe 5%, will go on and develop what's called PTSD.
There is no cure. You can't cure PTSD. You can help people to cope with PTSD. It'll never go away. You know, you can't erase what you've done if you've gone into battle, you know, and the enemy's coming over the top and you've only got a few rounds of ammunition left and they're shooting all your best mates, you know. You can't take that away. That's going to be in somebody's mind. But you can help that person maybe cope with that trauma.
After spending 30 years with the RAF, Christopher Gardner has since worked for the veterans rehabilitation charity Combat Stress. He fought in the Falklands War and was exposed to the kind of experiences that would normally result in PTSD. He doesn't suffer from the condition, but strongly believes the root of the issue lies with the method of treatment.
There's places like the Samaritans, but they don't talk the language. That's the big issue, I think. The big issue is having military or ex-military people talking to ex-military people.
I've come across veterans who will be digging trenches in their garden to take cover in, and it's, you know, a common question for someone with PTSD is, does it feel like it happened yesterday, you know, the traumatic event? And one guy said to me, he said, no, it's still like, it feels like it's happening right now. And that's the insidious nature of this. So something that might have happened 30 years ago in their head is happening right now with the same intensity.
In November 2018, the NHS cut £3.2 million from Combat Stress. This equated to 20% of their entire budget. Every year, the Veterans Mental Health Conference visits London. This time, they were joined by a group of people who peacefully demonstrated outside the event. In February, upon hearing the news that over 70 veterans and military personnel had committed suicide, the Defence Minister Tobias Ellwood responded.
Tobias! Yeah. Tobias! Right.
He released a statement saying, "Every single one of those suicides is a tragedy, and I absolutely feel for every single one of those families and friends that are involved. There are no words that can replace their loved ones. We must improve. We must make sure that others are not following in our suit." He gave one of the main speeches at the conference, and Prince Harry also attended the event. Gus Hales's campaign has been one of the main voices fighting for those veterans suffering in silence.
I realised that a lot of veterans have been failed. Some have gone away and committed suicide. Whether that's a direct causal link to the treatment they had here, that's debatable. But we know that people have committed suicide because of the lack of the care and the frustration that they find themselves in. So this was never just about me, this was about the wider issue of the way veterans are treated. So what I would like to see is this organisation and the government up their game, start to take this condition seriously, because we've had 100 years of failure.
Despite the difficulties charities have faced, many experts are confident brighter days are on the horizon.
If someone cut their arm, you're not looking for a cure, you're looking for a treatment. You want to stabilise the wound, you want to clean it, you want to create the conditions for healing, and then you want it to heal up. And that's the same with PTSD treatment. We've got the good treatments. You know, there's always tweaks and improvements, but we're not looking for the silver bullet anymore. We've got an armory of different things that you use in different circumstances. And yeah, there may be a scar left, but at least it's not a gaping wound that's infected.
It used to take years for people to finally say enough's enough. And they used to go through marriage breakdowns, alcoholism, drugs, prison, all the rest of it, homelessness, get right to the bottom before they would say anything. Now, I think people are, because PTSD is more widely known about, they're saying about it earlier on, when they realise that they shouldn't be having these nasty dreams.
I was alongside men who would have died for me, and vice versa. And in many ways that's a very beautiful thing, because it's humanity at its best, although its mission might be the worst of humanity. Nonetheless, the best of humanity can come through that. So there's a strong sense of loyalty towards those people that I've served alongside with, and to think that their life can fall apart so far where they don't want to live anymore, that has to stop, for the want of better treatment, better care. So here we are, fighting for better treatment, better care.
As campaigners continue to fight to improve facilities available to PTSD sufferers, for the veteran population in the United Kingdom, life carries on as normal. With the latest government budget plans promising an extra £10 million to veterans' mental health services, this move will be considered progress by many ex-servicemen. Although there is a long way to go until the veteran suicide problem is solved, many would argue that the number of lives saved will make the hard work all the more worthwhile.